Welcome back to Seat Time. And yes, the swing arm bearings do not look the way that you want them to look when you take your swing arm off to change out the bearings. I was hoping that I was going to be able to easily press them out and press in the new bearings. That is not the case. As you can see, I waited way too long. They have rusted themselves in. They're quite seized, so we're going to have to get a little bit creative. So do not judge me on what I do with a hammer, what I do with a blowtorch, and how I'm gonna be getting these out. But hopefully this is a way for you guys to realize this is not what you should have to do if you have to do your swing arm bearings. If I was lucky enough to be able to press these bearings, I'd have this cup. This would be that catch race to be able to be just big enough to press on this outside surface and catch the bearing as it came through. And then I would have a bearing that's just big enough, if you wanna look at it here, to be able to fit around that bearing but still be able to push it through, right? So you would see something that would look like this. So you'd have the catch on this side, you'd have the bearing on this side, and you'd be able to press them through. That's not gonna work right now because I need to give it a little bit more force. Enjoy using the comments.
This is that exploratory moment in time where you don't totally know what direction to head, so you lightly start trying things to see if anything starts to create movement towards a solution. I would heat up the swing arm, tap on it with a large punching hammer. Then I would heat it up again and start hammering on a socket with a sand hammer. When I didn't see any movement here, I decided to try putting the swing arm in the vise. As you can see, these first few learning moments revealed nothing more than I was in for a very long day.
You can see, because it's so beat up, it's starting to tear. So I may just have to cut it out. It's going to be very hard to bang from the other side. So we will see where this takes me.
It took me to a new tool, the slide hammer bearing puller, or to some, a blind bearing puller. You mount the correct size collet in the inside of the bearing, creating the grabbing force you need to drive the bearing out. You then attach the slide hammer to the mounted collet, secure your hardware, and hammer away. Though I learned how to use a new tool, I need to remember greasing your bearing is truly step number one.
I'm not excited about this.
Now that the Dremel tool has come out, you know it's getting serious. The problem with the Dremel tool I have is that the bits just aren't strong enough for the metal of the bearings. Back to trying to heat and press the bearings out with a long bolt and sockets. Then it was back to the slide hammer for a few more attempts. At this point, I have been in the garage for 8 hours and I was pooped. So I shot some rust penetrant into the swing arm in hopes it would work to loosen up the rust some.
Okay, so I was able to use the MAP gas, which got it way hotter, and keep pressure on it. And as I was going, you could hear it pop. And it was releasing. So now though, I've got to find the right socket to be able to push through because I've misplaced the one that worked before. Awesome. Even though I was able to get a couple pops, unfortunately the bolt that I was using to try to compress that just snapped. So it looks like I am going to be using this Burr rotary tip bit to see if I can very carefully cut out that bearing shell. Not excited about this. Not at all. Unfortunately, we've had to level up.
I had to make a special trip to Harbor Freight to purchase this die grinder and Carbide Burr bits. The attendant there recommended I spend some time testing out how to use the tool, and I'm really glad that I did. This bad boy spins up quick, and these Carbide Burr bits do some serious cutting. Since there were two bearings pressed up against each other, after cutting one out, I wanted to see if the other one had any give to it. It didn't, so I got back to cutting it out. All in all, I didn't do too bad. I did get a slight nick in the swing arm, which I spent some time sanding down so the bearing wouldn't get caught up when pressing it in. I sent the pic to a few different mechanics and got the thumbs up. What an adventure.
As you can see, I ran through the gamut of options getting that nasty rusted bearing out of my swing arm. Don't wait that long like I did to try to either A, grease your bearings, or B, to swap them out. There are plenty of tools that you could use. You could even bring the swing arm to your local dealer and they could do it for you, and then it won't take as long because they don't have to take it off of the bike. The number one lesson, don't wait until there is literally rust built up in your swing arm bearings to try and replace them. The air gun that I wound up using with the Carbide Burr tip was insane. I'm glad I tested it first to see how it worked. I did get a little bit of a nick inside there, but in the long run, you saw me sanding it. I flattened it out. We're good to go. I'm ready to press these bearings in so we can get some more seat time. Man, make fun of me in the comments if you want to, but if you've got questions, ask them there. If I don't get a chance to see you guys on the trail, at least we'll see you on the internet. Enjoy getting seat time, and we will see you for the next one. Peace.